Welcome to the Gunnersville Grassroots Podcast, sponsored by FroggToggs. Did you ever think you'd say that, Trey?
I never thought I'd say that or hear that.
A big shout out and thank you to Will Fowler over at FroggToggs. I talked to him a little bit about being a title sponsor for BassinBigG and the podcast that falls under that umbrella, and he was interested, jumped all over it. We hope to do him proud. So I've had one of their rain suits for a while. That was the Pilot Pro Series, and it's a great rain suit. And we might have got another one. It's the new FTX series. I can't say that I'm looking forward to going in the rain and putting one on ever, because I don't like fishing in the rain. But it's pretty sweet. I just handed Trey his a minute ago, and he went, "Man, that's really nice."
It is. It's kind of lightweight, looks comfortable. It's got a bunch of nice featers. I'm looking forward to putting that thing on, wearing it around.
Vented hood, neoprene sleeves,
yep.
The waterproof zippers, all kinds of cool stuff on it. So we're happy to be back. We ended the year last year. We weren't real sure if we were coming back. We said, "Well, it was fun. Let's see what happens." We had a lot of folks reach out. Both Trey and I had people reaching out to us on social media and stuff like that, going, "Hey, when's another podcast?" And we're like, "Well, look, we can only talk fishing when we're fishing."
That's right.
And
that's right.
Trey kind of fishes all year. It's deer season for me. It's January the 23rd, and I'm still kind of in the rut just a little bit. I've kind of wound down on deer hunting, but I still got a little bit of madness left in me.
That's right.
But we are going to have today Wes from Bill Lewis / GSM Outdoors. He's the director for what was the Rattle Trap Tournament. It's now called Battle of the Brands. I don't know if you've seen much about that.
I've seen a little bit of that on Facebook and stuff.
Bill Lewis got bought by GSM Outdoors, so they modified it a little bit. I think they just had one on Sam Rayburn this past weekend. I feel like I saw results from that. It's Bill Lewis Lures, Yamamoto, Buckeye Lures, and Steel Shad. So you've got anything from Steel Shad is one of the metal blade baits.
Yep.
Yamamoto, everybody knows what Cinco is, but they make a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, the Zayco chatterbait trailer, stuff like that.
Right, which has led to some questions that we're going to try to get Wes to answer. And then Buckeye Lures, jigs, swim bait heads, which leads to some other questions that we're going to try to get answered. Have not been fishing. I told you just a minute ago, I backed my boat in the water Saturday for the first time in I don't know how long, only to fill the live wells up and crank it. I was tagging bass, cash, bass fish at Goose Pond at an ABA tournament, and they had quite a few boats, 26, pretty good for January. And then I tagged quite a few, let them go there, carried a few to some undisclosed locations down the river a little ways, let them go.
That's right.
Spread them out a little bit.
So the tagging has started.
Tagging has started. I tagged New Year's Day at the Waterfront New Year's Day tournament they had. They had a bunch of boats. I forget how many, but it was 50 or 60. Of course, it was 70 degrees New Year's Day.
Which that's normally a pretty big tournament regardless.
It is. And when I saw the weather, I thought, it's not many days in January. I'm on tag fishing. It's 70.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I'm down there in a T-shirt, and that's pretty good deal. So yeah, I've tagged Waterfront, Goose Pond, and then moved a few around. We'll start tagging again. There's nothing this next weekend. I'll tag some at the Rattle Trap Tournament.
That's normally a big one.
That is
usually
a big,
tag a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there, Main Lake, Browns Creek. I'll be tagging quite a few there, and then we'll finish up Mud Creek. Mud Creek's gonna have me a tournament February 11th. The guy out of Roseberry's gonna have one. We'll try to get it all wrapped up.
Yep.
I'm not sure when.
That's what's cool, that y'all don't tag them all in the same area. You spread them out so the people up there at the top of the lake can catch some, down at the bottom end, towards Brown. So they're all spread out. They're not all bunched up in one place. So
no, that's right. And they move.
They do. I think the one I caught 2 or 3. I lose track of time, but whenever I caught it at Browns Creek. At 431 Bridge, and it was actually let loose at Goose Pond. So, that's a long ways for a fish to travel. Now, whether it got put in a live well and let back loose, I don't know. But
I've had them go the other direction that far, from Browns Creek. And I told somebody the other day, I said, Browns Creek as a whole, fish move a lot. Browns Creek is almost like a little black hole.
Yep.
There's so much habitat there, so many different things that a lot of fish, I think, find a different home. But there's still some of them move on. I let some go at Browns Creek last year. The guys told me they caught them up around Preston and mink, and two of those got caught back up that direction. I actually kept up with it. I have not done quite as good a job with that this year. That ABA this past Saturday, they had 26 boats. There wasn't many limits, but everybody had 2 to 4 fish, just perfect tagging size, 15, 16, 18 inches. Ken Draskovic won it with 18.28. The New Year's Day tournament, they caught him pretty good. Of course, she had a lot of boats, and it had been on a little warming streak. Sean Hornbuckle and Keith Morris, they run the Honeycomb Wildcat over here. They had 23.41, and then Jim Leary and James Cornelius had 23.26. No surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise. I will say, I mean, those weights are pretty high for January.
Man, I've seen some really pretty healthy fat fish. I've seen some big old spots.
Really?
I might have put tags in a few of them.
I'm looking forward to this year. I mean, last year was a really good year. We talked about it on the podcast. I had a good year, last spring. But, I mean, the weights I've seen throughout the winter have still been pretty daggum good.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this year, the springtime especially, to see how big the weights are.
Let's talk about weights. You had a little tournament, little tournament this past Saturday. Waddowie?
Yeah, Lake Waddowie. I didn't even know how to get there. I had to put it in my GPS or I would have been lost. But I did get there. Me and Luke Duncan, stupid Luke, had a ABT 100 at Waddowie, and we I think we ended up having 1662. I think. 1652, somewhere in that, 16 and a half, 16 3/4. We come in 5th, so we got a good payday. Won some bonus money too on top of our check. We got a Garmin bonus for running a live scope, so we had I think $500 extra for that. So come away with some good points. Had a good tournament. It's a good way to get the year started for me too. So.
Yeah, that's a new boat, right?
Yep, brand new boat. That's the first tournament I fished out of it, and they actually Phoenix signed a deal with ABT this year where they not only pay the winner, is bonus money. It's the $7,000, but they also pay the highest finisher. So if you don't win and you finish 5th or 4th or whatever, and your highest finisher Phoenix that didn't win it, you still win $2,500. So, which unfortunate, but the guy right in front of us that finished 4th, I think, he was a local there, and he had a Phoenix, so he got $2,500, or I would have got the highest finisher.
So if that had happened, you'd still be grinning.
Yeah, I'd still be grinning.
He comes in here strutting around rich anyway. I think he just won like $8,000 this weekend.
I mean, hey, I'm excited.
Oh, absolutely, man! That's a fantastic start.
It was. I was a little mad because the top 3 in the ABT 100 get a trophy, and those trophies are cool. Like
I've seen the pictures.
They're awesome, and we took over the lead. I knew we wasn't going to win, but I mean, I knew we had a decent bag. But when I finally heard we got knocked down to 4th, which was the first place out of a trophy, I was so pissed. Like, I didn't care about the money, didn't care about nothing, but I knew I wouldn't get one of them trophies.
It was Jimmy Mason got 4th.
Yeah, Jimmy Mason. Yeah,
because I talked to him when he was on his way down there, and he's the director for the Bass Cash Bash over in Wilson Pickwick, and we were talking tagging and stuff, and he said, it's supposed to be a pretty good little lake, and looked like they had a big one.
Yeah, I think so. Me and Luke, I caught a 5. Maybe, I don't even know how big they were. I'm terrible at guessing. I usually underestimate more than anything, but I said they were 2 4-pounders, but I'm thinking since we had 16 and a half, it was more like 2 5s. But we still, like a lot of them guys ahead of us and around us had 1 7 or 1 6 3/4 or whatever. We never had like a true giant. We just had
20 pounds to win.
Yeah, it took 20, not even 21, some 20 and a quarter, 20 and a half, something like that.
Hey, you've never been there?
Yep, I never been there. I got there at Thursday at like 10:30 and fished till 4, and then me and Luke fished from I couldn't get him out of bed until about 8 on Friday morning. So we got
to say from Luke's podcast a week or so ago, you're lucky he was even there.
Yeah, so we got out there about 9 on Friday. So we got like a day and a half of practice, maybe a little over that.
You couldn't get him out of bed in time to go fishing before 9?
Well, I mean, I have to say it's a little bit my fault too. I was a little tired. I drove and fished the day before, and I was like, man, I put in a half a day before you ever got here, so I need to sleep a little bit. So we wasn't in no hurry to get out there. But.
You had it figured out. So were you live scoping these fish?
We live scoped. Most of them we caught them up shallow, but we did. We made a last minute cull right there at the end on a bridge column right by the ramp. Luke caught one on live scope on a little War Eagle jigging spoon, like a 3-pound largemouth on a bridge column, and it culled out like a pound and a half.
Just spun it around, saw it.
Yeah, well, we had fished there. We had fished on one of the columns in practice, and we had caught like Luke right there at the end of the day on Friday. He caught like 5 or 6 in a row on a spinnerbait, just keeper spots, nothing crazy. I think the biggest one was 2 pounds, but I was like, man, we'll catch a limit there or whatever. So last minute, instead of going around all that timber in a pocket, messing my boat up and trying to weave in and out with 15 minutes left. I was like, dude, if we get back there, we won't have but 5 minutes to fish. Then we got to get out of the timber and, in a hurry. And it's not easy to do, trying not to tear nothing up, getting out in a hurry in that timber. So I was like, let's just go to the bridge column and see what happens. So we pulled up, and he flips a little spoon over there last cast and caught like a 3-pound largemouth and caught a 1.5-pound spot. So we went from having like 14.5 to 16.5 right there at the end of the day.
Pretty good call.
Yeah, pretty good call. So he almost tackled me into the water. We were celebrating so hard. So
well, now you got to be easy now. He's getting old like me.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, hey, easy now. Easy. Don't get that heart rate up too much.
Yeah. I haven't been fishing. You hadn't been fishing. I have been around the lake. Everybody says the water's anywhere from mid-40s to low 50s, depending on what mood the weather's in there for a week. You know how it is. One day it's 4 or 5 days it's warm, then it comes a tornado and it gets cold again. And,
yep.
Welcome to January and February and March and part of April.
That's right.
And the water was low. It was way low. Plenty of floating grass around where I drove and in waterfront and places like that.
Always.
And the guys catching them said a lot of them were shallow, but he said, man, I caught fish in 3 foot, caught fish in 30 foot. So, I've never understood Gunnersville is a backwards lake. There's a lot of fish live in less than 5 foot of water when it's 40-some degrees. They always have. So, Battle of the Brands. It's our primary focus today. Not a whole lot more to talk about. We could talk about all kinds of things.
Yeah, we could talk about all kinds of things.
We got Trey's had an interesting last year, but we won't get into that today. We'll save some of that for later.
That's right.
But we're going to try to get Wes Higgins from Rattletrap on the phone. Swapped messages with him this morning, and he said he'd be ready around the time we were. So we're going to try to get him and see what he's got to tell us. I've got Wes Higgins with Bill Lewis Lures and GSM Outdoors. I believe that's correct. On here with us. Wes, you've been the tournament director for the Rattletrap tournament for a long time, haven't you?
Well, actually what I've done is over the years, I've hired some people that really are full-time tournament directors to run our event for us. We got some great partners there. My background was president at Bill Lewis, and so I was always caught up in product development and sales and trying to run a company. So I didn't try to actually run the tournaments myself, but I would always go to them. I love them. We just got done with our first one with GSM and Sam Rayburn this past weekend, and I can't wait to come to Gunnersville. I think we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I knew your name from PD Vinson. I run the Bass Cash Bash here as well, and he had mentioned your name before, and we've tagged at your tournaments before, and hopefully I can tag at it here in a couple of weeks because I do need to tag some fish.
Good old PD.
Old PD. Yeah, I talked to him yesterday. He's a character, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from right down the road.
Oh, are you that close? Okay.
Pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you've got a kayak division in the tournament, and
yes,
it's same day, different times or different weigh-ins. How does that work?
Yeah, it's the same day. They will come in. Of course, they don't weigh their fish in. They catch photo and release them on the water. But they will come into the weigh-in stage, and we'll call out whatever they measured that day. I think they may even have a big screen up where they can show the photo of the fish that they pictured. And they basically measure the length of them. They don't weigh their fish; they measure them, photo them, and submit them that way. So yeah, they'll mix right in there with the boaters. We did our first kayak division last year. Steve Owens from up in Tennessee comes down. He does an excellent job running that side of the event.
Yeah, that'll be neat. So anybody that's listening, if you're fishing the Rattletrap tournament, watch out for the little boats. They can get a lot of places you can't, but a lot of times they're in the same places we are. So you got to watch out for those guys.
It was impressive last year, considering they can't run all over the lake quite as easily. They did have a couple of them, brought in really nice weights. I think we had one we made 18 pounds or so, something like that. So yeah, I think we looked on the boater side and they would have finished in the top 10,
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And, Gunnersville, particularly this early in the year, it can be really good or it can be really tough. It just depends on the water and the weather. And, I mean, you've been up here enough, So.
Oh, yeah, if they lower the lake real quick or something like that, it can turn it on in some cases.
So we've made some changes this year. I see it's Battle of the Brands now. I struggle not to call it the Rattle Trap Tournament, but
No, I know we've been saying that for over 12 years now. So yeah, it is very ingrained.
But so you got Bill Lewis, Yamamoto lures, Steel Shad, and Buckeye lures, all of which fall under the GSM Outdoors family.
Yes, sir. Good Sportsman Marketing.
Right. Okay. Good Sportsman. That's what that stands for. Okay. Tell me a little bit about. Tell me your general rules, and then we'll go over some questions that folks were asking me.
Our rules are very simple. That's the beauty of this tournament. We try to just make it a simple tournament, a fun tournament. You know, all of these team tournaments throughout the year, you can basis. There's a lot of pressure, but this is a great one for people that just want to come see how good they are with a rattle trap, or now a Cinco, or maybe a Buckeye swim jig, and you just simply fish those products. It only has to be a Bill Lewis, Yamamoto, Buckeye, or Steel Shad. So basically, your soft plastics are all Yamamoto. Your hard baits are all Bill Lewis. If you want a blade bait, we have the Steel Shad, and then of course Buckeye makes a pretty big variety of jigs, spot removers, football head jigs. Good variety of products there.
That definitely adds a little different twist to it than just throwing a rattle trap all day. That gets hard for us people that are over 45.
Yeah, it's a lot of cranking, so it's nice to be able to take a break and drag a Cinco.
For sure. Hey, I was going to ask too, before we get into too many of the questions, if you were going to fish the tournament, how do you register? Like, can you, just for people listening, can you register at the meeting before? Can you register online? Like, if I was wanting to fish, how should I register?
Yeah, so you could go to the Bill Lewis Fishing website, BillLewisFishing.com, or Yamamoto's baits.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be a tournament section on there, and you can click a link in there. And also just simply Googling Guntersville Battle of the Brands. I think that will lead you there as well.
Okay, perfect. And can you also register at the meeting?
Of course, yeah, we have a registration just like we always did with the Rattle Trap Tournament. For many years, we set up at the Guntersville Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
And we use their gymnasium. So we have a lot of space. Guntersville Tackle and Outdoors brings a lot of product. I think they carry every single product that Bill Lewis makes now. And I want to say they're doing the same thing with Yamamoto and Buckeye too. So they'll come out. They'll literally bring all the product out of the store. They'll even bring in some extra stuff for the event. So, everybody has a chance to get stocked up and be ready and be well equipped. And we have a lot of fun. We have several pros that come in. I think we have Fletcher Stryrock and, of course, Boyd Duckett. He lives right there in Guntersville. Unfortunately, Mark Daniels and Gerald Swindle will be away this year fishing in Florida for, I think it's an invitational event down there. But it'll be a great time. We'll have some pros on hand. I'll be there. Crispin Pally, Vice President of GSM Fishing, he'll be there. And we just want to meet everybody and answer any questions they have about our products, kind of what we're doing and where we're going with this thing.
You brought up a couple things about Bill Lewis products. So the question, I was in GTO and Waterfront this weekend, and one of the questions was, where are the jerkbaits? Where are the jerkbaits? And Paul said they're on the way. Are they going to be here before then? Do you know?
I think he's got them.
Okay. Well, he
when did you talk to him?
Saturday. He said they were on their way, so they may be there already. So
they should be. Yeah, it'd be any day now.
Okay. One other question that came up on our post where we were just saying, hey, what questions do you have, was, can the Duckett traps be used? Mm-hmm. That Bill Lewis made.
We manufacture those for them. Boyd and I work together on that design, and it's really a good bait. So we got to let people use that.
Okay. So, like the questions got kind of, how things get going around. So it's Buckeye makes swim bait heads, and is the only swim bait you can put on there one that Yamamoto makes, which is a.
That's right. Yeah, if it's soft plastic, it's got to be a Yamamoto. If it's a jig or a wire bait, it's got to be Buckeye. if it's a hard bait, it's got to be Bill Lewis. Now, the one thing we will allow, if say somebody wants to Texas rig or Carolina rig, they can use their own hook and weight.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Texas rig, Carolina rig stuff. Can they change the blades on the spinnerbait made by Buckeye? That was a question there.
No, sir. We want them to use it just like it is out of the package. Now, we understand on hard baits, people are really picky about their treble hooks, so we will let them change their trebles if they want.
Okay. All right. No A-rigs, no matter what the baits, correct?
Yeah, no A-rigs. That kind of gets carried away.
No, I know. I mean, you could take 4 or 5 of those the Yamamoto Seikos with a J Will swim bait head and put them on A-rig, but you're using a product that's not one of y'all's. So
yeah, and we really want to feature these products and let people see how well they can work when you commit to them throughout the day.
So the bottom line is it needs to be a stock product except for hooks or whatever. And
yes.
We're not adding chatterbait blades to jigs to make a chatterbait. We're not doing anything like
right.
that. You can use a swim jig. Any trailer has to be a Yamamoto.
Yeah, let's face it, these products really work just as we make them. So people just need to use them like that, and then they'll see.
Oh no, I get it. People just start going, well, what if, and what can I do here? What can I do?
No, they kind of enjoy the tinkering, and I like that too. I get in the garage and change blades out, or even throw a blade on the back of a rattle trap, stuff like that. But yeah, for this one here, we're just going to keep it simple and tell them just fish it like it is out the package, and otherwise you kind of open the door to all kinds of stuff.
Did I see something about that you can only use custom painted lures, only current production colors?
Yeah, that's kind of one that I really had a hard time with because I enjoy the custom painted colors. In fact, we had one that was called the BER for Bobby Reisner from Florence, Alabama, a custom painter. He had painted up some traps for some college guys. They're all grown up now, but back then they were in college. Cameron Gottney and anyway, they came out and won the tournament in the snow that day, actually, with this red and black striped rattle trap that Bobby Reisner had painted for him. So we named it after him, the BER trap, and gave him credit for the color, and kind of worked out a deal where we'd send him blanks and stuff like that for him to custom paint with. And that was fun, but at the same time, we do have so many colors, and it just would be nice for people to try them out and then see how well they work. And that'll help out the tackle shops that support us, because they have a lot of our products and they do a lot for us. So we want to give back to them and help them sell their tackle in their stores out there by the lake,
Oh, absolutely. No, absolutely. I don't fish it a whole lot personally. It's the last weekend of deer season in Alabama, and I'm still chasing furry things from time to time. But I do plan to be there at a minimum to tag some fish. Trey, I don't know if Trey's even. Are you going to be in town?
I don't even know if I'll be in town. I ain't looked that far ahead. I go day by day.
I ought to be 21 or 2 and not have to really schedule stuff. So
that's right.
Wes, it's always been a great event. You get 200 plus boats just about or close to it about every year. I don't think it'll be any different. You may get more. And Gunners will.
The numbers at Rayburn were a little bit down just because everything's been down, honestly. Bass Champs just had 163 boats this week. That's the huge team over there in Texas, that always gets about 300 usually. They had the branded belt tournament. They paid out $100,000 first place and didn't even draw 250 boats. So, that just tells you something about the state of the economy, the gas prices and all that. It's definitely hurting tournament numbers right now.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It definitely, it probably has, gas is better than last year, but still not great. So,
yeah, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
The nice thing about our tournament, I will say, and this is to kind of encourage people to come out, is that you don't have to commit to a whole season, a team event where you're fishing for the points. This is a fun one. Grab your grandson or bring your daughter, fish their first tournament ever, and just tie on a rattle trap and go have some fun, or get a Cinco. That's the great thing about Yamamoto and Bill Lewis. They make two of the best baits for easy fishing. Can't think of two easier baits to fish than a rattle trap or a Cinco,
Now that's definitely true. I mean, and I'll tell you what, you put a Cinco in the hand of somebody that's willing to just let it soak all day, they're gonna catch some fish. On this
Big
lake,
ones
for sure.
too.
Big ones, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Big ones. So I hope that we get some good weather between now and then. It's February. It can be, 70 one day and snowing the next. The gunners will fish like the snow. You mentioned that a minute ago with Cameron winning one time before. But I hope that we'll see you there. And
Yeah, I hope so too.
I'll probably hit you up about maybe being able to get up a little closer to the dock to unload my tag and stuff, because that's a long ways to carry it. So, and speaking of which, you're going to be you're going to be doing it at the at Browns Creek there at that park pavilion where you did it last year. Is that correct?
Right there at Civitan Park.
Civitan, yeah, Civitan. It's the mouth of Browns Creek right there. Absolutely, yeah. $120 entry.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So just right there across the street from the Gunnersville Middle School. That's where we'll be doing registration on Saturday. Another thing I wanted to mention is just all the new products that are now available, not just from Bill Lewis, but Yamamoto. I don't know if you guys have seen the Yamacraws, incredible new crawfish style bait they have that's got a mega floater formula that makes the claws actually rise up, stand up. So if you're dragging it on a football jig across the bottom, stop it, those claws will just flare right up. It's got beautiful action to it because the plastic's super soft. I mean, everybody knows the quality of Yamamoto plastic. But beyond that, they've got a Slinko, which is an awesome Carolina rig bait. They've got 3 new shad-shaped worms for drop shotting. They've got a big Speed Cinco, which is a missing piece in their lineup for sure. So big old worm, you can swim around in the grass and everything. So they got a lot of new stuff. So this is a good opportunity to come check it out and fish it. Just have some fun. So come see us if you can.
Absolutely. Out of all the baits, what's going to win it?
Man, it's hard to go against a red rattle trap on Gunnersville in February.
I agree. I agree. Trey's over here shaking his head too. I mean, if it's not red, it'll be some rendition of it more than likely. So,
yeah, we've had a few shad colors do it, but usually it's red.
Yeah, some version of it. Y'all definitely have several versions of that.
Yeah.
Trey, you got any other questions?
I don't think so. I was going to ask the one about the custom painted stuff, but he answered that for us. So it's just. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you can't find a color rattle trap at Gunnersville Tackle to fish with, you're just out of luck because they got about 700 different colors. So you should be able to find one you like.
Oh yeah.
We do literally make hundreds.
Oh yeah, and
GTO and Waterfront both has, I think, every color they carry. So. Stop by there. Like I said, they're loaded. They got the MR6 as rattle traps. Everything that they're going to have in the tournament, they should have. If they don't have it, like he said, they should be getting it soon. So,
yeah, they should have the new jerk baits this week, the scope sticks, and man, they're phenomenal.
Now, are there a few different sizes to that?
Yeah, we did a 100 millimeter, which is more or less a 4-inch, and we did a 120 millimeter, which is more or less a 5-inch.
And those are what, 4 to 6 foot runner, something like that.
So here's the fun part. We did a couple floaters in both sizes. We did 4 to 6 foot suspenders in both sizes. Then we did a deep one, 7 to 10 on the big guy. And also in the 5-inch, we did a sinking model.
So you got plenty of options.
So you got all the bases covered there. So
that's what's fun about working with GSM. They've got a team of 37 engineers on staff, and the product development engine is unreal. So you're going to see a lot of new products coming from Bill Lewis, from Yamamoto, and Buckeye. Watch out. You're going to see the pro staff light up. And I think they've already made some announcements recently. Of course, Gerald Swindle's been a big part of that team for a long time and still is. But guys like Nick LeBrun, who's been on fire, won 3 tournaments in the past year. Bryn Ealer from out west, who's a beast. He's coming on board with Buckeye. So you're going to see big things out of that company that really they've never seen before.
We had Nick on the podcast here last year. He won he won on Gunnersville last year, and we talked to him. He's a super nice guy. He's a great guy to have on with anything. He's
one of the best. Yeah. He's right here from my home state, so consider him a good friend.
So I guess you're a big LSU guy too.
Purple and gold all day.
Purple and gold all day. PD's shows up here in his purple and gold stuff, and people look at him funny. But
Oh yeah, I got to deal with Crispin Pally,
where is he?
Tennessee guy.
Tennessee.
Nonstop.
Oh wow.
I mean, we're literally at registration at Rayburn this past week, and he's got the Tennessee LSU basketball game on. Of course, they're whooping our tail. He's cranking the volume up, so I have to listen to it.
Trey's I believe Trey might be a Bama guy. He can't help it, and then I'm an Auburn guy. So we got a whole big diverse section of it over here. But
we're all over the place.
Well, look, you need to come for sure because we're bringing some Auburn rattle traps, I believe, to give away. And we had some overstock from like back in the day that we just came across, and somebody said send them to the tournament in Bama. So come get you some.
Interesting. Maybe somebody.
That's
will
some
win on
strategic stuff there.
That's right.
I like it.
Well, Wes, I won't keep any longer. I sure do appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk and tell us a little bit about it. There's been questions, and like you said, it's really pretty simple, but it helps to hear it directly from the source. So,
thank you all for having me on.
We're going to try to help spread the information, and I'll let you know when we get this thing up.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Wes. See you in a couple weeks.
All right. Y'all take care.
Thanks again to Wes for coming on and talking with us, answering some questions. I appreciate everybody that responded to our social media, reach out to, asking questions. Hey, what do you want to know? I mean, that's our goal. We're here to hopefully provide some information that you didn't have somewhere else. We live in a world that is always looking for somebody's attention, and we really, really appreciate the folks that have taken a few minutes of their time to listen to us ramble. We're still trying to figure out why, but we're thankful for it, and hopefully we can continue to provide you some useful information about Guntersville and Trey's adventures, and heck, maybe even myself that works too much will get to go fishing and have some information one day.
That's right.
But what's next, Trey? You really don't know, do you?
I really don't know. I mean, kind of like you said, I want to touch on that. We didn't really have any we didn't even really have it set we were going to do this year. We were kind of just, winging a prayer, going to see if it worked. And we had a bunch of people reach out, but this is exactly what we're here for, is to get feedback and answer questions for people about tournaments like the Rattle Trap Tournament. Well, here I go, called it the Rattle Trap Tournament, but the Battle of the Brands Tournament this year. And so for you guys who reached out on Facebook and give us some questions, I mean, that's what we're here for. We like to help people out, tell everybody what's going on the lake. So we had a good bit of feedback from everybody, and that's why we're here this year. So thanks to you guys for actually tuning in and listening to us, because we didn't think anybody liked to listen to us talk, but apparently some of you do.
Some of you, yeah, all three of you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all 3 or 4 of you.
But as far as tournaments go, it's January. There may be something like, I honestly don't see anything on the calendar for next weekend.
I don't know of anything big, at least.
No.
It's just some little maybe Wildcats, out of All Reds or.
And they don't have one of them this weekend. They've been having a decent turnout to it. I meant to have the results from that, and I never did see them. Nothing next weekend. Another ABA or something the last weekend, or the first weekend, same week, right there around the Rattle Trap Tournament. Battle of the Brands Tournament.
We did it again.
There is a catfish tournament out of Waterfront that same day. And Trey and I were talking earlier. Somebody had brought a couple of fish into GTO. The catfish, one of them about as big as Trey.
Yeah, it was. I think it might have been bigger than me.
I think it had Trey's spinnerbait.
And the same guy brought in a 3-pound crappie. I saw that. He weighed in like a 3-pound crappie at GTO, and then the next day, or vice versa, one of them, he weighed in like a catfish bigger than me.
Jeez. Well, I think that about does it for our January 23rd edition, second season, hard to believe. We will be back for sure somewhere right after the Rattle Trap Tournament. We're going to try to start back up February with our every 2 weeks. Might pop in a little surprise episode here or there, a little short one in between every now and then. We'll see how that works out. We appreciate everything that FroggToggs has done to help us continue. We appreciate y'all listening. The best thing you can do to help us is like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. When you see that little leave a review button on your Apple or Spotify or whatever, leave us a review. It helps. It helps it show up for other people to listen. And until then, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy the floating grass.